is your NFL MVP? At this point, it's down to two men, Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. So let's make a case for each candidate and who I feel should be the MVP in today's video on the Lockdown Divas Sports Network. Let's go. The divisive topic of the NFL Most Valuable Player Award. Now, how do you rank it? How do you weight it? How do you determine, there's no clear-cut way. There's no rules or lists, or I guess you can say doctrine to point to how you declare or determine what the MVP is. There's nothing written in stone, right? So it's really about perspective in a lot of cases. But at this point in time, we can delineate down to two men being the front runners for the award, right? We got that covered. However, what will determine who wins it? That is the case. And the NFL, just gets blessing on blessing on blessing, having these two men actually face off against each other, not only in the regular season, but they're facing off again in the playoffs for the divisional round. So now that particular portion does not matter technically, because voters should have already voted and the ballots should have been cast already. But they're going to face off again just to put the icing on the cake of this MVP discussion and debate. So let's get into exactly what it means to be the NFL MVP. Let's make a case for each person. Let's give the numbers. Let's break it all down and give honest perspective on who we feel like should get the edge and the nod for MVP at the end of all this. And always drop a comment and let me know exactly who you feel should be your MVP and why. So we're going to do a tale of the tape. Let's start with the numbers here. As always, you got to start with the numbers. The numbers, hold, to me, the most credence, because without the numbers, you have nothing else. I guess you can say the awards you may get, the signature moments you may have, your team's record, how far you go in the playoffs, all that good jazz does not matter if your numbers don't add up, right? So let's talk about the tale of the tape between these two gentlemen, first and foremost. So as you can see on the screen, there's definitely a lot of glaring things here. There's a lot of good to be had here with these numbers. Look at their quarterback rating, look at the passing yard numbers, the amount of touchdowns, average yards per pass, the total touchdowns, rushing yards, rushing touchdowns. It's all here. It's all here. And to me, it's close. You have a 3% difference in completion percentage with 63 for Josh, 66 for Lamar. You got about a 400-yard difference in passing. You Lamar with 41.72 passing yards. Josh Allen with 37.31. Josh has 28 touchdowns passing. Lamar has 41 touchdowns passing. Lamar only has 4 interceptions. Josh has 6. Josh only been sacked 14 times. Lamar's been sacked 23. Passer rating, it's a pretty wide margin. 119.6 for Lamar, 101.4 for Josh Allen. Now, rushing, I would say Lamar has a slight edge. 915 on the yardage perspective. Josh only has 531. But Josh has the edge in rushing touchdowns with 12. Lamar only has 4. To the total of 45 total touchdowns for Lamar and 41 for Josh Allen. So, I mean, you can nitpick and go back and forth, but these particular numbers are very close, if you measure them all in totality, right? So how do you go from here? So you have the numbers here, so it's very, very close. So it could literally, the pendulum can swing either way. So now you get into talking about the awards that they've gotten throughout the season or at the end of the season. So we're talking all pro, Pro Bowl, and things of that nature. So let's talk about the resume next. So the resume speaks to this degree. So Lamar just been recently voted first team All Pro as the quarterback. But conversely, he was actually voted as Pro Bowl reserve as the third quarterback in the Pro Bowl, voted by the coaches, players, and fans. Now, Josh, on the other hand, was voted second team All Pro, right behind Lamar in voting by the players. Now, mind you, All Pro is voted typically by the players. All players throughout the league vote on who they feel like the best player is in each position, right? So Lamar got a nod at 1 and Josh got a nod at 2 by the players. Now, Pro Bowl is the combination. You get coaches, players, and fans vote on Pro Bowl. So Josh was labeled the Pro Bowl starter, And again, Lamar was voted third in Pro Bowl reserve between it was Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, then Lamar. So the fans and the coaches think slightly different from a perspective of who was better throughout the season versus what the players think. So you had that argument there. Now you get into the actual record. Now, Lamar in the AFC North was 12-5. Josh Allen in the AFC East was 13-4. So they were one game difference in season record through totality. Now, you have to throw into the idea that they played head to head, and Lamar Jackson got that victory in that matchup. So, do you count that as and weight that in record as well as far as where Lamar Jackson played in the AFC North? To me, it was a tougher division. Josh Allen only had one more victory, and he lost to the Lamar Jackson head to head. How do you weight that? That is also, I guess you could say, arguments to be had of which you weigh higher in the ranking. Do you say that on the same field, same stage, Lamar Jackson was better, or do you say Josh Allen in totality had a better season? It all a bit based upon how you rank it. So that holds credence to the idea that they are very, very neck and neck as far as who should win and who shouldn't. Now, a lot of people have been arguing since Lamar got their first team All-Pro that he should likely get his third MVP. But again, Josh Allen, his narrative and his story speaks volumes too as well. So now let's talk about each individual person, and let's make a case for each individual person to see who you might think may get a slight nod based upon the superlatives that happened throughout the season. So let's start with Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson throughout the season, again, he was first team All-Pro, Pro Bowl reserve. Now, in my perspective, in my mind, in my eyes, the AFC North was a tougher division. You had the Bengals who were fighting for the playoffs in the entire time. The Steelers made the playoffs, and they split in their matchups. And, of course, the Browns always been feisty and playing people tough, and they actually beat the Ravens once this year as well. So you have to hold credence to that. So, again, the Ravens beat the Bills head-to-head, so Lamar has that nod. The Ravens, in their 12 wins, defeated 7 playoff teams out of their 12 wins. So out of 12 wins, they beat 7 playoff teams. So that holds credence in a 12-5 record. Their losses, however, were to the Chiefs, an ugly loss to the Raiders, a Browns loss, which probably shouldn't have happened, the Steelers loss when the Steelers were hot, and he lost to the playoff Eagles. So you could argue that three out of 5 teams they lost to were playoff teams. So that's something to hang your hat there if you're a Lamar Jackson fan as far as winning the MVP. So there's something there to be had in regard to his resume in this case with MVP. So let's move on to Josh Allen, his resume. Again, second team All-Pro as a quarterback, the Pro Bowl starter voted to him by the fans, coaches, and players. Again, the Bills defeated the Chiefs, which the Chiefs could not, the Ravens could not do. The Bills beat the Chiefs, and I believe they played in Buffalo, and the Ravens could not beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead in the beginning of the season. So that is something you can hang your hat on if you're a Josh Allen sider. So the Bills defeated 5 playoff teams out of their 13 wins, and they went 13-4. They lost to the Ravens, obviously. The Texans, who are another playoff team. The Rams ended up being a playoff team. They lost to them. And they lost to the Patriots at the end of the season. Now, again, I think they rested a lot of starters and things of that nature. The Patriots were playing everybody, and they had nothing to play for, but they still played the Bills hard and ended up winning that game. So how much weight do you hold with their last loss? It could be literally looking at this from a 14-3 record versus 13-4, but definitely lost to the Ravens, Texans, and Rams and all playoff teams is the caliber of losses that the Bills had this particular season. So yet again, when you weight all that and put all of that together, who do you feel like, from your perspective, is the MVP? Now, I'm going to give you my case and my I guess you can say, opinion on who should get the MVP and why. Now, before that, I will say this. There's one thing that people aren't addressing heavily that it should be something that should be, I guess you can say, factored in when you think about people in their human nature and the way they think things through as regards to who should win MVP. So when you talk about voters, right? They're all sports writers and people that have votes for this particular award, right? There is a such thing as voter fatigue. You look at Joel Embiid versus Nikola Jokic last year in the MVP race and things and a lot of different awards, LeBron James, a lot of things that play into the idea that people just want to vote for somebody different at some point, right? You get that. You get that in certain cases. So will they be voter fatigue in this situation? I think there may be. I think there's a very valid case to say there may be voter fatigue. Lamar Jackson already has 2 MVPs, and Josh Allen has not won one. And I think everybody wants to champion and celebrate Josh Allen finally getting over the hump, right? Those people, no distractors, don't want to see the Chiefs, fail and in their quest for a 3P. They think Josh Allen might be the best and brightest person that can do it. Want to see him finally get over the hump. So that might play into your human nature and in your ability to vote. So I think that the idea of having voter fatigue might play into this award, in all honesty. But if you had to make a case and you had to say who should win the MVP just on impact alone and the fact that who he is on the field and how much he changed the game and how much he means to his team, I'm going to say this. I believe in all my wholeheartedness that who should win the MVP in this particular iteration of the 2024-2025 season, who should be that guy? And my vote goes to Lamar Jackson. I think Lamar Jackson should win his third MVP award. He has better stats. He's beat Josh head to head. He only has one more loss in the tougher division, in my opinion. I believe that he is the one that impacts his team more so than Josh Allen does. Slight margin, but he does. And I think that more people in the NFL fear Lamar Jackson as a quarterback and his abilities than they fear Josh Allen. Now, I'm not going to sit and argue that they don't fear Josh Allen, but if you had to pick gun to head and say that who would you rather face in the playoffs or just in a game, in one game for all your life, who would you rather face, Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen? I think they would pick Josh Allen. They don't want to face Lamar Jackson because he's too deadly as an offensive weapon. He's a weapon, not just a quarterback, but an overall weapon. And I think that you take that weapon away from the Ravens, they're not a playoff team. I think that the Bills being that stinky AFC East division could still be a playoff team with a different quarterback. But I don't think the Ravens make it at all in the AFC North. I just don't think they make it. So I think that by a slim margin, Lamar Jackson should be the MVP of this league because he matters just that much more to his team. And, despite the fact that he has won 2 MVPs already, that should not detract your opinion for him getting his third because he earned it. He's had his best statistical season as a quarterback, despite having Derrick Henry as a running back and kind of vulturing his rushing numbers to that degree because, again, Derrick Henry ran for over 1,900 yards this year. So, and despite all that, Lamar Jackson still had over 4,000 yards passing and 45 touchdowns in total. And there you have it. I believe Lamar Jackson should be the NFL MVP, winning his third award. Let us know in the comments what you think about the MVP award, who you think it should be and why. And be sure to hit that subscribe button for daily NFL content, and we'll catch you on the next video. And as always, you got to step up to lock it down.